We are less than a month away from the NBA trade deadline, and there are some massive moves that are about to be made. With supposed super teams like the Suns sitting at 12th in the West and supposed tanks like the Spurs suddenly in the playoff picture, the competitive West and top-heavy Eastern Conference is making more teams than ever eligible for a huge swing this February. But who are the swings? Jimmy Butler, Zion, Zach LaVine, and who's swinging? The Timberwolves, the Lakers, the Warriors? Oh, maybe even the Hawks too. I'm sorry, I wrote a Hawk to a joke in the script, and I just can't get myself to read it. It's so bad. I'm sorry. I'm about to walk you through every player on the trade block, their potential destinations, as well as what teams you should look out for to be making a massive move very, very soon here. All of that and more will be covered after this special message from NBA Commissioner Adam Silver himself. Hey everyone, it's me, Adam Silver, and I'm here to let you know that if you're an NBA fan, you should subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you want weekly content covering all things NBA and even viewer suggestions, then make sure you tap that little red button, and while you're at it, you might as well throw in that white little bell so you never miss an upload again. This channel is only run by one guy, so he would very much appreciate it if you could help him continue to do this. Alright, I'm gonna go back to making sure the All-Star Game sucks ass every year. And yes, before you ask, this is my real voice. I am Adam Silver. Please don't look it up. Enjoy the video. There's a good amount of notable players taking up lots of space on terrible teams, and even players that have been doing so well recently on bad teams becoming targets for a last-minute trade. Players like Zach LaVine, Brandon Ingram, Cam Johnson from the Nets, and the one guy putting the entire league on pause right now, Jimmy Butler. For starters, after pulling the most Jimmy Butler move of all time and kind of requesting a trade but not telling anyone where and not formally requesting to be moved and kind of getting himself suspended in the process, also, his hair looks different weekly, so this might be the most Jimmy Butler has ever been. But that being said, regardless of his media spectacle and only averaging a measly 18, 5, and 5, we're still not even 2 years removed from when he took the entire NBA by storm and propelled the 2023 Heat to the finals, a carry job on the level of that LeBron team. No, not that LeBron team, the other one. No, not that one, the other one. Jeez, LeBron has carried a lot of teams. Jimmy is a must for pretty much any team wanting to have success in the playoffs, with his most likely destination being the Warriors following their recent, struggle. They started off the season hot, and in just a matter of weeks, we've gone from witnessing those type of games to witnessing some of the worst games of Curry's entire career. So maybe the reset for both teams is what's needed to give Curry another shot at glory. The Warriors love to contend for championships well past their prime, and Jimmy Butler is the guy when it comes to that concept. So honestly, I'd love to see this pairing. And hey, if they win, I would be absolutely stoked to see Jimmy finally get his ring. And you could say he deserves it because he came from homeless. He came from nothing. He was never giving anything by any organization in his entire career. But to me, I think he deserves it because he was a former Timberwolf, and because the tomfoolery trend on TikTok will always hold a special place in my heart. But you know what? He deserves it. As for the next biggest name on this list, Brandon Ingram, the Pelicans would sacrifice half their roster and 6 newborn babies to get him off their books. He's got 1 year left on his insanely expensive contract before he hits free agency, making him a win now move, and his 22, 6, and 5 with some solid defense would be much needed for any team. The only problem is the fact he isn't guaranteed to stay, and even if the team who gets him re-signs him, he's going to be expecting a shitload of money, regardless of the new CBA starting to kick in. That leaves him only being a viable option for teams looking to contend in the coming years and have the bag to sign him and keep him. Teams like the Hawks and Spurs, who might elect to fast-track their rebuild and make use of their limitless stacks of money they got. I'd personally like to see him on either of these teams, but getting Wemby a solid scorer to take that pressure off of him offensively whilst only ramping up the defense is really dangerous in the long run. The final few big players I'll cover before getting into individual teams would be the prospects of Bradley Beal, Zion Williamson, and of course, the dude who's only stayed relevant in his entire career via trade rumors for the past few years, Zach LaVine. In my opinion, all of these dudes are too expensive. None of these dudes will win anyone a championship within the next year or two, and the only potentially valuable one in the long run is Zion, which is ironic because I don't think he's ever been on a long run, and I mean that in both ways. Zion will give us highlights like this that reinvent the law of physics, then turn around, sit out the season, and reinvent the laws of the NBA. That 65 game rule was directed at guys like Zion. For me, I'd love to see him on a team like the Hawks or Spurs again, because I can't imagine one big in the league willing to take on a front court duo of Zion and Wemby. Shit, that's like Fanboy and Chum Chum. Those two would be posted up in the paint looking like the Apple Jacks mascots. Now, those are just the guys that are pretty much confirmed to be getting traded very soon, but there are still a lot of names in speculation, and to cover all of them, I'll have to move to the team section of the video. The NBA is so competitive right now, more competitive than ever, but that makes it even more likely for any given team to win a championship. That being said, however, in this era of parity, it is crucial that teams know when to go all in and when to take a year or two to build up in order to meet the perfect window and finally bring home the championship. As for teams who desperately need to make that move now, that would be teams like the Warriors, Lakers, and even teams who might need to restart like the Kings and Suns. Those are the four horsemen of really needing a splash to compete, but in a similar tier are teams who are doing a lot better or worse than expected, and are thinking that this deadline it might be time to start shaking things up and capitalize in either a playoff run or a draft piece. Teams like the Spurs, the Magic, and the Mavs that are close to making huge swings, and teams like the Timberwolves, Bulls, and 76ers who need to hang up the hopes and dreams for a season or two. Starting at the top, the GM has somehow managed this problem sticking around for the past couple of years, and it's honestly become a saying at this point, but the Lakers need a center. Right now, their best bet at depth in the center position would be Jonas Valanciunas, but I wouldn't be shocked to see a big leap for DeAndre Ayton or even Vucevic, who's come back and had a strong year this year. Meanwhile, the Warriors and Mavs are aiming for the Jimmy Butler sweepstakes, and I can honestly see the Mavs having a better shot at it. Packaging Clay would probably get the job done, but I wouldn't underestimate just how valuable the Warriors picks can be and how their trajectory is right now. The Spurs are a team that I am dying to see drop an absolute bomb and become contenders overnight, but in all honesty, I think their best bet is to lay low and continue to build, and all signs point to the fact that they probably will do that. If they are to make a move though, I'd hope that they go for one of the Pelicans boys to help unlock Wemby's game. The Kings are a team that has a lot of good players but aren't really winning games, so I could see them shipping off a superstar or two pretty soon here. And the Clippers just got Kawhi back and he isn't looking that good, so I mean, if they could manage to package him and somehow get another great piece, that would be insane. And on top of the Clippers, there's other teams like the 76ers who always find a way to make a move, and the Magic who can really contend if they just get that one extra piece. The Magic have been absolutely insane this year and have so much draft capital and so much young talent that they could really flip anyone they want. And finally, there's the Rockets and Grizzlies who are in the exact same boat as the Magic and have so much talent and draft capital, yet they are still rising the ranks in the Western Conference. All of those teams point in the same direction and could potentially solve a lot of problems if they manage to be the first to get one man. Zach LaVine. LaVine has had trade rumors pretty much since birth, and the only reason he hasn't been traded already is because the Bulls are really holding out for some value, knowing that there are plenty of teams gunning for him. So, as an NBA fan, don't be surprised when eventually someone completely overpays for him within the next month. The last team I really want to talk about is the Suns, because they are the worst super team in NBA history. They really had us fooled. People forget how good Devin Booker is, people forget how good KD is, and people most of all forget how overpaid and shitty Bradley Beal is. I can honestly see the Suns shipping off Beal to a bottom feeder team like the Nets in exchange for a Dorian Finney-Smith, and honestly, it's just time to get rid of him. In conclusion, my official predictions on who I think will 100% get traded before the deadline of February 6th is Jimmy Butler, Cam Johnson, Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine, and Brandon Ingram, or really anyone on the Pelicans at this point thanks to Zion. That'll do it for this video though. Please let me know your predictions in the comments as I read and reply to literally every comment. You can check any video I have. But if you happen to enjoy this video, please leave a like, please subscribe, and I've got a lot more NBA videos on the way weekly for you guys, so this is the perfect time to claim your early ticket. Hell, I've even got some NFL playoff content coming, so if you've got a friend who only watches the NFL, maybe it's time to start getting them into a little bit of Strictly Sports. Anyways, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Subscribe, it's free.